Hello. In this video we are not going to talk about the development of Yandere Simulator, nor are we going to talk about its infamous and ambitious developer. It's going to be about art. A higher form of art. But most importantly about exceptionally skilled artists. You may have already guessed who this is about. Let's get down to business. As most of you already know, there are many people who work on the project of Yandere Simulator, and more are involved around its community. But there is one person who had earned a spotlight. A person with rich history and rich character. The main artist of Yandere Simulator. One and only, Mulberry. A very controversial figure in Yandereverse. Accusations of plagiarism, tracing, lying, deviations, art perversions, and even more. I'll try to cover as much of this as I can. Now let's get more familiar with our exceptional individual. We will start with her DeviantArt page. Looking at the About tab we can see the most important information on the artist. Here we have two short, comprehensive lines in bio. But most important is the contents of the interests field. Mulberry strongly accentuates her affinity towards food, tasty kind specifically. All that is essential information. Outside of Yandere Simulator, Mulberry is not a very noteworthy person. But within the development, she's a significant figure. Yandere Simulator had given her online career a very much needed kick in the pants. It will probably make her a cultural icon. Having said this, let's take a look at her contributions to the project of Yandere Simulator. Mulberry has been known as a creator of the in-game art, as an illustrator for Yandere Dev's YouTube channel, and as a community moderator. She's the one who created the developer's images for his virtual persona. That's to help him avoid showing his real face, but still remain somehow visually connected to the audience. As you can see, she produced plenty of art pieces for the Yandere Simulator project, and continues to do so. As long as development goes, we will be seeing her being a productive illustrator. By the way, did I mention she does all of this for free? Who knows why she gives away so much time to the game? Is it because of the promise of pay after the release? Is it because there is no other prospect for her? Or maybe it's simply her sincere belief the game will have great success, and the developer deserves the support and free labor because it's too much work for one person. If the latter is the case, then it makes her a big philanthrope who helps poor people in times of need. She's a living saint. As you may have already noticed, Mulberry has a very distinctive and unique drawing style. It's very hard to mistake with any other artist. Half of the time. I would like to present you some more pictures to demonstrate the abilities of Mulberry's mighty hand. Let's look at this jolly picture of Yandere Dev surrounded by his tiny little characters, like a small feeble man with a god complex surrounded by mindless homunculi. The expression of his soft and young face, eyes are wide and void of sober mind. That's deep. Notice stylistically elongated face, proportions, and spacing. Next is the iconic image for an in-game poster. This one is particularly representative. For those of you who are not very literate in intricate details of digital art, I will provide comprehensive commentary from another artist. Here we can see how unique Mulberry's style is compared to traditional forms. And if you think it's not enough, here is another one. But Mulberry's art is special not only in its proportions and perspective, but also in its interpretation of shading. Here she shares the secrets of her craft. Mulberry doesn't let the reference dictate how light should go around the silhouette of the body. Truly revolutionary. This is a good example for all aspiring artists that you don't need to spend money and time in art school to learn essential knowledge, skills, and discipline. True art does not require any of that silly nonsense. famous and popular artists often become subjects of intense critique and various allegations. Mulberry is not an exception. Being an artist is not easy, especially when evil tongues say unfavorable things about you. How can one discover their potential when people hold you down by pointing out your flaws and imperfections? Mulberry was a target of multiple accusations of tracing, ever since her earliest posts on the internet. During that time she was known by a different username, Zisusan. Back in 2009 a few DeviantArt users came forward to throw outrageous claims that Zisusan is in fact a tracer who can't draw by herself. You may expect Mulberry to tuck her tail and sit silently, but she was bigger than that. Mulberry recorded a whole video disproving baseless accusations of tracing. It's a very, very old video. Some of my viewers probably weren't even born yet. Here she demonstrates her ability to draw lines and shapes without any assistance. She also gives a powerful speech about how bad of an artist you have to be to fall as low as to trace someone else's work. She's such a positive influence. I want to point out a very special technique she uses to hold the pen. It's an admirable achievement to be able to draw anything with such a grab in the first place. Despite defending her dignity and reputation with grace, Mulberry had to brand herself on the internet, throwing away old username and recognition. Was it in response to the intense critique? I can't say. But if it's true, it did not stop jealous people from obsessively following her online presence and scrutinize the artworks. As Mulberry grew bigger, in more than one way, so did her gallery and audience. This time, a number of clout chasers making baseless accusations only got higher. You can see it for yourself. Here are the examples. Take a look at this one. Two illustrations absolutely unrelated to each other. You need to have a very strong imagination to see the resemblance between these two pictures. Some people had been making conspiracy theories regarding Mulberry's inauthenticity, such as using Liquify tool to conceal the fact of tracing. Sometimes it went as far as claiming one picture was traced from more than one source. No person with an inch of talent has time for all that. Mulberry isn't just an exceptional artist. She also has an exceptional taste in men. Given her revolutionary takes on art, Mulberry produced a good amount of illustrations of a very provocative nature. Contrary to popular belief, it wasn't my original idea to depict Yandere Dev as a well-endowed young woman. It wasn't even Yandere Dev's idea too. It all started with Mulberry and her mind-blowing creativity. Let's take a look. Impressive to say the least. I had never been the same since the first time I saw it. If it made such a strong impression on me, it's probably life-changing for someone else. Anyway, I had to let it out by making the infamous big Yandere Dev model. I would like to point out, these illustrations were made as some sort of fan material, something like a tribute to Yandere Dev. She had sent these pictures to the developer, and they got featured on his official streaming channel and were given extended commentary. He sounded very amused and was probably aroused. But the general public had a different kind of reaction to it. As it was mentioned earlier, Mulberry is a big shot in Yandere Simulator community. At least the official one. Her fame didn't reach other circles as much. She's the second most important figure right after Yandere Dev himself. Like a king and queen, who live in different palaces. Sometimes Mulberry acts as a gatekeeper of the community, keeping an eye on the unworthy to bask in her glorious presence. She blocks users around with the speed of sound. Some people speculate Yandere Simulator Discord doesn't have moderating bots for this reason. Mulberry takes her position as a moderator very professionally. She makes her judgments very quickly and is known to possess telepathic abilities to remove users before they committed any transgressions. She deserves her own TV show, Judge Mulberry. A lot of people who worked with the Yandere Simulator at some point became at odds with its developer. Yandere Dev's ways of collaboration are quite eccentric, and few people understand them. But Mulberry is a very special person. Being on good and friendly terms with a special person like that shows her patient nature. I'd assume she had a prior experience of working with special needs children. But in reality, Mulberry is a hopeless romantic. It may sound unrealistic, but it's true. Yandere Dev does have somebody who has warm, loving feelings towards him. Since the moment Mulberry first met him, she had been in love. In fact, she's so close to the developer, she hangs out with his old friends, at his private streaming page. The one where he hides from the prying eyes. As far as I know, Mulberry had been in semi-long-distance relationship with Yandere Dev for 6 years. At some point, they met in person at one of the fan gatherings. Unfortunately, for a guy who likes fictional girls on paper, she has too much volume. Speaking shortly, she's too much of a woman for him to handle. As it was admitted by Yandere Dev himself, he's chosen a celibate lifestyle, and he's only interested in women from video games and Japanese cartoons. But who knows, I bet Mulberry will be as successful in amorous affairs with the developer as she is in her online career. So far, the only known thing about Mulberry as an individual is her online pseudonym. Some may wonder, how does she look like? Unlike our dearest senpai, who had been a very mysterious figure for quite a while, Mulberry is slightly more elusive. You can't find any of her photos by simple search. No matter what query you use, there will never be any photo connected to the name Mulberry artist. But thanks to the efforts of the fans, we can see the beautiful face of our queen. This is one of the earliest pictures that surfaced in the community and had been the only known one for some time. But there's more. Behold! Beauty, grace, elegance. Here she is together with Yandere Dev. He looks so young here. And the rest. Well, that was pretty much it. There is some more to say and some more to share, but these were the most important bits of information about the main artist of Yandere Simulator. As you can see, she's quite a character herself, much like the developer. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching.